where Dick earned his master's and doctoral degrees. In 1958, Dick and Jing and their 4 children arrived at Stanford. Throughout their time, Jing was an active and involved partner supporting Dick, appearing at innumerable Stanford events, but also pursuing her own interests in areas such as gender equality and fair housing. When they arrived, the university was perceived as a quiet regional school, but that would change dramatically over the next 2 decades. Dick Lyman was a great teacher. Even his 8 a.m. classes were highly rated by students. But he was also a strong and effective leader. In 1964, he became Associate Dean of the School of Humanities and Sciences, and 3 years later, he was Provost, serving 2 presidents, Wallace Stirling and Kenneth Pitzer. In 1970, he became Stanford's 7th president. The late 1960s and 1970s were a time of great unrest for the nation and for its universities. Students participated in civil rights movement and anti-war protests. They questioned everything, from the university's admissions policies to its governance. It was a turbulent period when protests could suddenly erupt into violence. And as if that were not enough, the university also found itself in difficult financial straits. Dick Lyman guided Stanford through that turbulence, through protests, fires, bombings, various shutdowns, and difficult financial challenges. And under his leadership, the university did more than survive. It flourished. In 1969, as provost, he was faced with a particularly difficult decision. Students had occupied the main administration building and invaded the offices, and could not be persuaded to leave. Although he was personally deeply opposed to the Vietnam War and was a passionate advocate for free speech, he believed the disruption and potential for violence were a serious threat to the university. So he made the decision to call the police to campus for the first time in the university's history. But he also worked with the sheriff's office to ensure that faculty advisors could be on hand anytime the police had to clear a building. That policy protected both the police and the students and kept the volatile situation from escalating further. The year before, after Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, members of the Black Student Union called for the university to increase minority representation in the faculty and student body. It was a cause Lyman deeply believed in. Years later, he wrote, "We were doing our best to set an institution for which we cared deeply on the road to diversity after so many decades of injustice and exclusion." By the end of his term, the enrollment of Black, Native American, and Hispanic students had increased significantly. The university also opened its first coeducational dormitory on campus during Dick Lyman's years. As Dick Lyman explained to the Stanford Report, students in Stanford's overseas campus were already sharing a dorm. And if we could have a co-ed dorm in Florence, Italy, why not a co-ed dorm in Florence Moore? Leadership, he wrote years later, requires different qualities at differing times. As an historian and educator, he understood the necessity of changing with the times. Throughout social upheaval and changes in governance, Dick Lyman never lost sight of the university's mission or the importance of open dialogue. In an address after having summoned the police, he said, "Anytime it becomes necessary for a university to summon the police, a defeat has taken place. The victory we seek at Stanford is not like a military victory. It is a victory of reason and the examined life over unreason and the tyranny of coercion." His leadership and ability to guide Stanford through this difficult time ensured that the university could focus on academic excellence, and its reputation and prominence increased significantly. When I arrived as a faculty member in 1977, Stanford was focused on its core mission. As a young assistant professor, I did not know what the president was doing, or about the tumultuous times that had only recently ended. But I knew that Stanford was a great university and a wonderful place to be teaching and doing research. Dick Lyman had done much to ensure that. In 1991, Dick and Jing Lyman jointly received the degrees of Uncommon Man and Uncommon Woman, Stanford's highest honor for exceptional service to the university. A recognition that has been given to only 25 people in the past 58 years. Throughout his years of courageous leadership and dedicated service, Dick Lyman exemplified the Stanford spirit, and all of you have benefited from his leadership and his dedication to this university. Today, I hope you leave this campus with a strong reservoir of the Stanford spirit, a reservoir that will grow over the years. And I hope this spirit inspires you to make your own contributions to the world, and that it brings you back often to this great and much-loved university. Congratulations, and thank you.
Hilarious. Where do they throw the hats? Where do they throw the hats? Still throwing that beach ball. Oh, the worst combination. You can't hear the words, sorry. Oh, really? The football games.
I invite you to stand as you're able for the benediction. Beloved graduates of the class of 012. Proud family, mentors, and friends, we bless these moments and these years for all that we have learned, for all we have loved and lost, and for the quiet ways they have brought us nearer to both visible and invisible destinations. Learners and leaders, these long-awaited endeavors completed today teach us to consider those whose very lives depend upon the quality of our work, the generosity of our lives, and the preservation of our common world and the common good. Trust and treasure the possibilities of a generous heart and a compassionate life. May you have the grace to act kindly, to be gentle, to be at home with yourselves and others. May you know the wisdom of deep listening, the healing of wholesome words. May you learn to cultivate the art of presence in order to engage with everyone you meet. May you be willing to continually work on yourself, building up and refining the ways of your heart, your soul, and your mind.